On streets of Tarkov, the sound that cuts through the chaos isn't the chatter of rifles. It's heavier, deeper, and when you hear it, you've got seconds to find cover. That's Lexus dealership, Kaban's stronghold, and those are his in-placed NSVs and AGS-30s speaking loudly. Kaban is more than just another boss encounter. He's the keystone of a fortress, backed by disciplined gunmen, rooftop snipers, and a reputation to make veteran PMCs tread carefully. But how did a man who once ran a small legal business turn into the warlord of Primorsky Avenue? How'd you go from selling cars to controlling the streets with belt-fed firepower? This is the real story of Kaban's rise, and while the fall of Tarkov wasn't his end, it was his opportunity. Before the collapse, Lexus was a dealership. Glass windows, polished floors, a place you'd walk into to test drive a sedan. Now, it's an interlocking kill zone. Claymores ring the perimeter. Rooftop hosts snipers who rotate positions. Entrances are covered by mounted heavy machine guns and grenade launchers. Inside, Kaban himself prefers to anchor fights with a PKP or a PKM, firing from the hip as if it's a carbine. He's big, heavily armoured, and, unusually for a Tarkov boss, often fights without a helmet. That sounds like an opening, until you realise you peek. You're under crossfire from 6 or more of his guards. Official records say Kaban once ran a legitimate business. He stayed in Tarkov when the evacuation orders came, and his crew grew quickly, fed by criminal methods of money acquisition. 2 names keep appearing in his orbit: Basmak and Gus. These aren't just generic lieutenants, they fight alongside him, each with unique behaviour and preferred weapons. Gus often carries a crowbar, Basmak favours machetes, and the confirmed family tie, Kaban is the brother of Kalante. One runs Lexus, the other holds his own territory on streets. That blood tie explains why they coexist peacefully. If you've run Skier's quest, The Debtor, you'll remember the detail. A target found dead, pierced by a crowbar. Now, the game never says Kaban did it, but he, and Gus in particular, are tied to crowbars in their loadouts. It's not proof, but it's a signature, a message, a reminder that his crew were violent enforcers long before they had machine guns to do the talking. For most people, the collapse of Novinsk was the end. No law, no stability, no safety. For Kaban, it was the perfect storm. The removal of state authority cleared the way for fortifying Lexus. Glass walls became firing points. The forecourt became a mined buffer. Former military and police veterans filled his ranks. People who saw the advantage of standing behind the man building the biggest fortress in the district. Kaban doesn't just defend turf. Quests like Road Closed and Green Corridor point to his role in ambushing a convoy near Lexus. This wasn't random looting. It was a deliberate strike on supply lines. The message was simple: I control who moves through Primorsky. When you see the map, Lexus is perfectly positioned to control a major artery. Kaban uses that to project power far beyond his own walls. Tarkov bosses are often lone operators, but on streets, the picture changes. Kaban holds Primorsky, Kalante runs his own zone. They don't overlap, because family keeps them aligned. Other bosses like Glukar or Rishala operate in separate regions entirely. On streets, Kaban is the choke point. If you want through his avenue, you either go loud or you go around. Kaban's story isn't a fall from grace, it's a plan completed. He started with a legit front, dirty money, and the muscle to protect it. He stayed when others ran, fortified when others scavenged, and turned a dealership into a fortress. Now, when you hear the deep thud of an NSV or the rhythmic slam of a PKP echoing through the district, you're not hearing random fire. You're hearing the law of Primorsky, written in hot lead. Who really runs streets? The brothers? Or someone higher we haven't met yet? Drop your theory in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this Tarkov deep dive, subscribe, because there are more stories buried in these ruins. Thank you so much for watching. This has been XB. Take it easy.